Cloud9 continuing to illustrate why they are a team to fear in the Americas region, but I gotta say, no bananas, no banana consumption. I don't know how I feel about map 2 here, Sideshow.
I don't think they need it.
You don't think they need the bananas?
They don't need a single thing. I would say whatever you came into with that match, whatever you ate, whatever you hydrated with, keep it the same, do exactly that. The rest of the year, they'll win every game.
Man, I feel bad for that one guy who just had to down a whole coffee before the game started.
You gotta do that every time now.
You just go for it. Well, guys, one thing that was very clear in this one, though, is that LEV is very good at this video game. Like, really good at this video game. Benita, to go to you for this one here, I think that it's safe to say that LEV, he just is that guy. He's a high-impact player that every team should want to have in their squad.
Yeah, he's getting in there. He's getting the fights he wants. He has really cool stun lineups. He has been hitting some incredible shots, ones we had to replay. That was just like one of the fastest shots I've ever seen.
This round as well, though, to start with, man, Leviathan are trying to do some aggression, and in this round too.
Yeah.
They're trying to take control of the tempo, and LEV has just ripped it away from them. Here's that stun lineup that we caught on the replay, but they were actually, LEV was running that quite a lot in the previous rounds too, and Mizzino, it looked like either wasn't aware or was trying to take a timing around it and got punished by it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's ridiculous.
You can't really... You never really think, oh, the neon is lining up a stun, you know? It's not one that you think of.
Yeah, but I think it's probably also, it helps that he has so much versatility, right? So that he's always going to be thinking that way. You know, it's like when you watch Victor play, it's a very similar thing. He's got a lot of versatility, a lot of flexibility. It really plays out for him.
He also just watches a lot of the VODs, right? He really is a student of the game, and that's something that the Cloud9 team have been talking about a lot, is that he goes and finds this stuff on his own and talks to the team about how they should play certain comps and how he would like to be set up and how their rotate should work. Like, he's really involved in the planning phase too.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, and Cloud9 have been incredible. But also, another thing that, and Benita, you had pointed this out as well, the trades. Cloud9, whenever they're in a fight, if they lose a player, someone's instantly there to answer back.
Yeah, the trades are unbelievable. They come out at such a perfect, like, timing, the positioning. C9 is always so grouped, and their bodies are placed perfectly for the trades. And it really shows in this post plant right here.
Yeah, in this round, I think it's Mizzino and Nozwa that end up getting traded out in spots where they just can't do anything. Like, Cloud9 is swinging on them. And what I can't still wrap my head around is what King was talking about in the clip that we played earlier. How have they done this quickly with a team that has a couple of players without that experience?
Yeah.
And maybe that experience will end up, lack of experience, I should say. Maybe that'll hurt them when it comes to playoffs or Tokyo if they make it. And that's what you're talking about in terms of it being a honeymoon. But at the moment, there is just no signs of that inexperience whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's great. It seems like when you have younger players, they soak it in. They're kind of like a sponge, and they soak in what like the surroundings are telling you, and your coaching staff and your duelists, and they have like this like little family that's working very properly.
Yeah, they realize the situation that they find themselves in, and they're just going for it. And I love it, and it's working, and it's clicking. But of course, so before we get into map 2, let's do, as we always, little aim lab shoot around, shall we? We're checking in on Takalea, playing the Rays in the last game. Didn't quite have, Josh, the game that we would have wanted to see from Takalea on Rays, but it was always going to be a tall task to begin with, given what he was up against.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea in theory of messing with the composition to throw Cloud9 off. Benita, you talked about the nade being really useful too, but frankly, he just couldn't find the value. The showstoppers weren't there as well. Cloud9 were faster than him and made him look almost stuck in the mud at times.
Yeah, I feel like the comp change came from the idea of using the nade to stop the neon, and it seemed like they just weren't able to do that to get A main control as well, or to help stop the C push.
Yeah.
They did save it for post-plant in one of those rounds. That was quite interesting. I'm really curious to see what happens when we get to map 3, if we get, in fact, to map 3 of Bind, because they could play Taco as solo Rays there, or they could play the double duelist and put him back on Jet. But I would be gobsmacked if we don't see the Jet head-to-head here on Haven.
Yeah, and also, after that one, I did say before the match started, I was like, oh, I could see it being a 2-1, you know, trying to do the diplomatic response because I really like Leviathan as a team and think they have what it takes to win this. But after that 13-7 trouncing there, it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, no, this can very well go to a map 3, right?
Yeah, just seeing some of the shots that Leaf is hitting and the way he's playing, it's like his game. It's going at his pace. So that's something that's really difficult to stop and like to stop the momentum.
And even Josh was mentioning it in that last game, right? Like Leviathan were actually trying to be the pace setters. They were trying to up the tempo, and Leaf stops you in your tracks. And now Leaf, I believe, is going to be on the jet here going into this. He'll be facing off against Takolia, so interested to see maybe some of those clashes potentially in the op battles.
Yeah, but listen, the way that it's been going, Taco is going to have his hands full even going even in that matchup because Leaf has just looked like an absolute god. He's incredible. Every round he touches, he's having impact, whether it's in the first kill department or whether it's the way that he rotates, the angles that he's taking. And what I want to see, more so than just Leviathan winning to keep their playoff dreams alive, what I want to see from Leviathan is that they are playing differently, that they've swapped something up, that they have variety, that they have different ult plays, that they're approaching this without being as formulaic.
It took you 30 minutes to find a clip and find tendencies in Haven. Leviathan need to change things up. They need to be able to throw a wrench into the system if they want to force a map 3. But let's go ahead and send it back to your casters. It's Daddy Doug and Papa Balla.
I could hear the laughing from the production crew, too, as he said that. Thank you, Golden Boy. I appreciate that. Paul, we turn our attention over to Haven, where Cloud9 have stumbled 2 times this year. They lost it at lock-in, and yeah, it was a different roster, but they also lost it this year against NRG.
Yeah, so, yeah, they can bleed on this map, but at the same time, too, Leviathan has been bleeding on this map as well. They lost it against 100 Thieves, and I think thinking a lot about that telestrator that Josh said about was so much of the tendencies are very, very readable. Cloud9, we just saw them abuse some of the really, really nice things that Leviathan have used against other teams just because they see weaknesses where others don't. So how are they going to rip apart Leviathan, or will they even achieve that? One thing I've been looking at, though, is Cloud9 have only lost 1 map in the last 5 series that they've played.
That's an outrageous rate. An outrageous percentage, and once again, the pace for Cloud9 continues. They're fast with it, they're pacey, but Leviathan have a couple of strong members here that have been able to keep them back a bit.
Taco doing a little bit of intended baiting there on Shy to catch the last 2, but ends up falling anyways. And look at the position of Zappa. Will he win the fight? No, Mazzino. It's been so good in those instances, and now Zelsis has to pivot again. Not quite sure whether or not he can actually make it in time towards C to get that plan. Instead, it's going to go right up the middle in between both Leviathan players. Does not know exactly King's position.
The timing may work out for him. He has a fault line.
Oh, if he taps, this is going to be tough.
Clearing every corner, spotting 1. Waiting for the challenge on the second that will not come.
Where did that flash just go? I mean, just completely whiffed.
He's got the fault line. He's going to take the fight, and they're both weak! They were both weak, and it's a clutch for Zelsis!
Oh, no. To start off the game after what just happened on that first one. That is such a good play for Zelsis. I mean, he funneled them in perfectly. Look at him go. Found the timing, spotted that King cross, knew that Mazzino was on that side already, makes the dash over towards A, and baits them in perfectly.
I mean, what an opener for him.
Cover going out.
What an opener. Leviathan with just pistols here.
Alarm bot down.
2 rifles for Cloud9, 1 in the hands of Rooney and 1 in the hands of Zelsis. And he earned it after that last play. Cloud9 going to head towards C, where they're going to see that there is no one around. Leaf dashing into a smoke.
Full stack over towards A. Now wondering how best to set up not only the ults
Spike planted.
for the future rounds, but also this post plant. And I think the most important thing, the most important adjustment, not only this drone coming into garage, but pushing Zeppa up deep so he can get wild early information. about when and where the flank is coming from. Because you know it's going to be some sort of flank at some point. What was the point of that? Just purposefully set off the turret. To make it, I think to make it seem like there's going to be a flank through garage instead. Walking into B. I don't know if it's going to have the intended effect. Looks like they want to actually funnel in to just die to Spike, but they're going to be met with at least Leaf. This is looking like it might be a really good attempt from Leviathan to save, or actually get killed by the Spike, but instead they're all going to fall. And now Seppa is getting up to his ult.
Every single one of them.
The important thing that Leviathan wanted to, you could tell how they were playing, not only to find maybe an exit if there was somebody like Leaf walking up there, but they all wanted to die to the Spike without giving up. Especially more kills to Zelsis, given how close he is to his orbs. But not to anybody, honestly. And I think that was worse, almost worst case scenario. Zeppa getting 3 kills there.
You better run, Sova.
Looks like another fast C hit, Doug. Same turret, same fault line, same flash about to come out.
Mazino's here this time. Perched up top, Leaf unaware. Still stays alive, and now with the cover of the flash, she swings out.
He's gonna go for, swing through the one-way.
Here.
And Shai doesn't necessarily know that that's there. He does hear it, and they're funneling even further now. This is going to be not only a bonus conversion from Cloud9, but I mean an insanely good setup for them into the future of this match. Guys, they're gonna have breach ult once the next round comes up, especially if they get any guns down here. If they get any guns down here, they force Leviathan to save at some point. The ults are gonna be crazy in that round 5. Jake is getting close here.
You see Cloud9 on the prowl.
They have plenty of time to walk through A here too. Depending on how much info he sees, he might go for so much, but it's only Taco spotted.
See Zelsis with the fault line ready. I don't think anyone's going to be there challenging time. Oh, hang on. Short's got a lot. King falls.
Spotted one more.
Traded back. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to preserve some of it.
Only one weapon. Leaf has his ult now.
Yeah.
Rooney, 2 off. And they did force almost a full save. But Nasr with his weapon remaining, actually, I think everybody would have had enough to buy like they are right now. Mazzino with the judge, though. No util missing for Leviathan, somehow, some way.
Heavy lean towards A, where you have the fault line set up, push Nasr off the angle. And they take the space, but it's a little quick out of Leviathan. They're starting to funnel in towards mid. Into window. And I don't know that Rooney hears that. The turret's gonna help.
Turret might not be fast enough to give him the info.
He's into the sideline too. Yeah, you were right. It was not fast enough. Good flash out from Zelsis. Be careful not to overcook.
Leaf is scaling. I mean, he's just too good.
Of course he is. 2, Zelsis steals the 3rd.
One enemy remaining.
It's so dynamic from these guys. Leaf with the last one too. That smoke to swing out to the left there, fading right as his teammate is also starting to scale up on that right wall.
Then let's run.
It's perfect jet play in my mind. There's an aftershock to clear that corner to funnel them into Leaf's peak too.
Looks like
It's perfect. It's perfect. Dealing with that situation again after losing Jake. Don't forget that turret didn't spot him early enough, and they recover. Force the eco out of Leviathan.
Time for a field
It's
test.
a scary sight when Leaf is mid-map and he's just chuckling in between rounds. You can tell he's having a good time.
Isn't that every game at this point?
That's true.
Taco with the Fnatic play, dashing down, but again, it's just so well handled.
Oh, the ult used from Nasr to trade that back a bit.
He just used the ult, but the Killjoy ult is going to be up in the next gun round. So that's a big investment there. They're looking to win this eco right now.
Turrets destroyed.
And they had the blades.
They
And
don't know Zappa's here. Yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Well responded by Shai. It's got a little something to work with here. As the spike ticks away, Cloud9 digging their heels in, holding on to the site. They have not played back off. Sees Elsis now try to check the flank and make sure that there's no one creeping up behind him, but they're going to get the kills all they need on the site.
One enemy remaining.
It's just so clean from Leaf, man.
Here. Turret down.
Craziest part here for Cloud9 to me is a team that constantly is shutting down insane star power outside of maybe like Loud, and that was early in the season.
Right.
Nobody's really been able to have that same sort of impact against this team. And Leaf does this sort of performance constantly against every team in the league. He's never getting shut down. Conversation shifted throughout the season about, you know, he was a great player at the beginning, but we weren't really thinking about Cloud9 being on the radar, so it wasn't in that top 5, even in the Americas League probably. Shifted into definitely being a top 2 player in the Americas League, shifting into him being a top 3, potentially globally, maybe the best. He's so good.
Another. This time well traded by Taco, though. He's got the Hunter's Fury, he's got a flash, he's got a paranoia. How he's still alive just kind of blows my mind.
Oh my.
He gets another from backside. Finally tries to vacate the site.
Great movement, but Zeppa's here. He's gonna get 2.
Got one.
Hey, even with Taco finding so much value,
One enemy remaining.
they're on the verge of losing the 6th round in a row.
This is what I was talking about. This snowball is insanely good, given the situation that they were getting on those anti-ecos. And in that pistol, too. It's devastating. Leviathan is in economic situation where they're going to be buying every single round from here on out.
Yeah.
But they've got to put an end to this onslaught from Cloud9. They're freely getting the C site whenever they want. And then the pivots when the situation gets murky are so good in this specific round. Slowing down when they're looking for a pick with that ult. The TP out from Jake, I mean, that was ridiculous. He should not have gotten that kill, of course.
Nope.
But then even after all that happens, Taco gets the 1. They chase him down by pushing up in the window, recognizing his teammates are going to come to flood and assist him to try to get off that site. I'm honestly surprised this timeout is coming in at this point from Leviathan, from owner. I would have expected him to be furious with the way that this first couple of rounds went.
There you go. We got a little something going on. It was short-lived. Sorry.
They were loud at the beginning.
Yeah, they were.
And sadly, this scoreline right now for Leviathan is speaking to their hopes as well. They need something to get back into this. It might be the crowd. For the first time, too, it feels like we actually have some LATAM favor in the audience with us.
They just haven't had very many reasons to cheer recently. The timeline really tells it all. 6 rounds in a row, and it goes all the way back to that clutch from Zelsis on the pistol. The 1v2, reading Leviathan like a book. Starting the momentum, starting the snowball.
Yeah, that was a close round. That's why it's so shocking that it's gone this way. The pistol can speak a little bit about how some of these gun rounds are going to go, how the form is going to be for these teams on the maps, but they were an advantage on that pistol. They should have won the pistol.
1000% should have won it. Yep. Fault line going to help a little bit to try to dissuade Lee from being pacey.
I think they recognize that the player's top A here, yeah. They're looking to trap Taco, but also looking to extricate Leaf.
Zappa's pushed his way forward. Mazzino's able to clean him up. For what feels like the first time this entire map, if I'm not mistaken, there's an opening. There's a numbers advantage, and they've capitalized on it. Jake falls 2. Now 3 kills going in favor of the defensive side. Rooney and Zelsis, the only 2 that remain. The spike not planted. And resources divided. You see Zelsis starting to rotate out. Leviathan in a very disciplined manner, very patiently waiting to see where the attempt is going to come from Cloud9.
After that, timeout. We get to see a potential flawless here from Leviathan. That is definitely bringing the hopes back up. Reminder, this team is still not clinched playoffs. There is a
30
very
seconds left.
real chance that they miss out, given their opponents right now, down against Cloud9, later on. Next week against Loud to close things.
Flawless.
Of all opponents, it feels impossible.
Leviathan finally cauterize the bleeding and get around on the board. Still find themselves down 5, though. Still have a lot of money from Cloud9 you're going to have to deal with. You still have another Rolling Thunder that's about to hit from Celsius.
Leaf hasn't even popped those knives yet, but yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
snowball
Eyes
that
up.
I was referencing has certainly come to an end now that Leviathan has responded with a few ults of their own. They're about to get their Killjoy lockdown back up. They've resisted in the right time. I mean, the perfect way, because otherwise that snowball could have started up again. Now it's just Celsius' ult.
That opening was actually so bold from Leaf. There was not a fault line paired with that from Celsius. There wasn't a flash or anything like that.
I
He
messed with
just
it.
tried to catch a timing, and he almost did.
Almost did again. And this is unfortunate because Leaf has actually only gone for Stinger here because he was hoping to get so much value out of the knives. And you can see why. I mean, he was looking for not only the picks on C, but then instantly going back to look for a pick on A.
Celsius clearing out the turret in garage.
Look at this guy, still looking for one with the knives.
That's now the second bit of Killjoy utility that Celsius has cleared out.
With no resistance from Leviathan. Remember on Lotus, it was very heavily putting bodies in front of the util to be broken.
This is so, I mean, this is surgical at this point. It's death by 1,000 cuts, right? Either it's aggressive and in your
30
face from
seconds
Leaf,
left.
or it's very slow, it's very methodical, but it's very calculated from Celsius, from Cloud9. They do everything perfectly.
And I love this from Rooney too. Use this drone, use this dart to add to the hit, and then falls into a lurking position with the turret.
Taco's in a position to perhaps catch a couple unexpectedly.
Oh, 2 big ones.
Yeah, King gets another. Shy waiting in the smoke. Leaf just on the other side. You start to see some util come through, and Shy tries to swing, and Leaf cleans him up.
Last player standing.
Straight back and forth. It's
One
gotten into a
enemy
1v1.
remaining.
Leaf has struggled. Oh, but it's Zeppu plucks Taco out of the sky.
That is such a crazy attempt from Taco. And unfortunately, Zeppa's clutch there wakes up the audience in favor of Cloud9 with a little bit of prodding from the LATAM side of it. And it looks like not only the players want to make a statement, but Cloud9's fans too.
Taco with the up, close by. Tagged instantly. The dart, he was done.
The pace from Cloud9 has slowed down significantly since those couple of C hits, but specifically as well,
My double's dead.
since that timeout out of owner, they've shifted so hard. And it honestly feels like without playing Neon here, they're still working the map in the same way that they did on Lotus. Shifting between the A side, the C side, looking for kills everywhere based off of little timings that are taken by some utility breaking or some drone being used, some call being made in the comms of Leviathan. They're forcing. Looking for the picks in those moments.
He's just so aggressive.
He actually doubted himself that he cleared a couple of those angles. Almost netted himself a death. Leviathan are saving. And they have to because of the reset, and especially given the fact that that AWP was down from Taco instantly. Looks like we're back to that round 4.
Uh-huh.
We've seen this situation before, this time much more entrenched positions on the A side.
It's also interesting to see Lev moving the operator out of what would potentially be the reach of Cloud9.
Right here.
While still having rifles to work with in case they get pressured, which is what Cloud9 has been doing. So they have the tools to fend this off. It's the first one going in favor of King. Jake swinging around.
They're not going to get that up.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to keep it. Nope.
Yeah.
That's the op.
I actually think that's a mistake, Doug, to cycle that op up there and then go down and fight short. That op is so good in situations to hold the long-range angles while you're saving that you should be using that instead. For example, he could have walked down, used that op on short, and held that angle A long for so long and even played a crossfire. They weren't thinking of the setup there. I think King just uncomfortable with the weapon. And now they have 3 hero rifles. Taco has knives, so this is a pretty decent buy, but they are missing some util here.
It's going to be fast towards A from Taco with blades, but no one from Cloud9 is close by.
Here's that hit. We've seen it before. Mazino's just gotten dominated in this position multiple times. Thankfully, he does not get picked by that ult.
He got bullied quick, though.
Leaf is already running back into a different position than they've used previously, specifically because of this, but I think there's a nano and the aftershock. So try to break it, but it didn't go. And Jake didn't get the cancel off, but there's a pocket back sight.
Here.
4 HP, he tried taking Shy down and wasn't able to do so. Rooney using the drone, scaling his way back up towards site with utility. Meanwhile, you've got Zeppa, who's going to be hitting in on a late flank. The timing on this is going to be real pretty again. You can see it has all the makings of it. As soon as attention is turned towards Long, he tries to strike, but Leviathan hold him back quite well. No clutch from Zelsis this time.
And there, the flank from, I think it was Zeppa and Garage, just found no value. Instantly taken down from the Leviathan side. They knew exactly what was going on there. And for the first time, Leviathan actually attempt the retake and also get it. In a situation where Mazino just forces himself off the site instantly. Finally, it looks like Cloud9 fell into the protocols that Leviathan expect, that Leviathan are good at. And not only because of the knives that happened last round, not only did Leviathan just win a round, but they've got the op up now from Taco, despite losing 2 members on that hit.
Here.
Did he spot both? I mean, the shot splits the uprights right in between them both.
Shock.
That aftershock forcing Taco out of the way. They know where the op is now. They've identified Taco. You know he's updrafted. You know he's dashed.
Cloud9 gave the opportunity there for Taco to go for more, but then when he thought he had that chance, they sprung the aftershock, made it impossible for him to stay. This util is good from the Leviathan side, but they're not actually denying the plant yet. Here's the breach ult, and they're going to use it to funnel into the C-League.
While there was a paranoia coming in from that side, and that keeps them on the site, and that might be exactly what Cloud9 wanted. Zeppa trying to control the spray and land one, 3v3 left.
They just flipped it all the way over to the C side.
Yep.
So you're right. I mean, they were completely ready for that breach ult to come in and had a plan to react to it. Rooney on the lurk again.
King is so weak.
Die.
Feel like I've seen this round before.
Yeah.
Just we got there in a different situation, but the position's the same. Rooney on the lurk, holding down the push from B. And now Cloud9 has gotten into, I mean, a crossfire on their spawn. Disgusting.
Looks like it's going to be another attempt from Leviathan to save some prized possessions and weapons.
It's round 11 again.
Revealing area.
Last round coming up. They definitely have to get the op saved, but everything else, at least Noswer can buy as well. For Mazino, who's going to need it.
Last round before the switch.
Potential to have the exact same score that we had on that first map. Leviathan made a run at it in the second half, but this almost feels out of reach at this point. Maybe the second half is the difference maker, but for Leviathan, you want to keep it as competitive as you can, get to 9-3, and then maybe have a shot at it through the pistol.
I mean, especially given the that very real chance it could come down to tiebreakers for Leviathan. The maps are the most important, but we said it. We looked at the top of the day about the tie breaks. Round differentials in there at some point.
Shy's tucked in this corner, and I don't think they know. Oh, are they spamming him right now?
They're trying for it, just tapping.
Still not cleared.
Good ults to actually protect Shy there.
Oh, no.
But he just gave up his position. He's staying there right now. Leaf has the opportunity to strike, and with that reload, he will.
I think he was terrified that he may have been spotted by that drone, forced out, and then you're right, shoots, gives everything away, and falls for it.
It feels like an eternity since this round started. That battle in Garage lasting so long, but still a minute left, and they will eventually force their way in here. Lockdown as well to allow them to rotate off of the site. This turret right now getting broken from Nosworth allows them to set up a trap play on Garage.
Got the fault line set up from Zelsis too to allow.
They're not even holding the spike right now.
They just, I mean, they're looking to make a statement. And holy smokes are they.
They just ran through Zeppa's own molly against Taco. There's no way you expect that. And the thing is, there's so much space now for Nosworth to clear, given what Cloud9 did in the early. Leaf is staying in such an easy position to close out the round.
Caution here.
And the double swing, even worse than Lotus now for this first half.
Switching sides.
You know, there was so much conversation that we had around what Leviathan would look like after their last win last week. They looked so comfortable. They looked so loose. They looked like they were back to the form that people expected out of them coming into the season. But this entire series is throwing it right back into their faces. Let's throw it back to Golden Boy down at the desk to break down that half.
Couldn't agree more about what you just said there, Doug. It felt like last week it was all smiles and good things for Leviathan, but right now the conversation is all Cloud9. They are dominating Leviathan, and I can't believe that those are words that I'm uttering right now, week 7 into the Americas League.
I think Cloud9 are playing the second best Valorant in the world currently, behind Fnatic. I think they're that good.
That's a bold statement.
It's been ridiculous what they're showcasing. And Leaf is one of the primary reasons why. His read on the game is superb. Obviously, his mechanics are also fantastic, but the way he reads what's happening sets him up for kills that you just would not expect.
Yeah, it's Leaf's world, and we're just
living in it. I couldn't agree more, man. It genuinely feels like Leaf is going out there and doing whatever the man wants, and he's getting away with, and his teammates are supporting him as well.
Definitely, yeah.
That's the other part of it. It's one thing to go out there and be a top fragger like we've seen so many players in VCT, but to do it the way that Leaf is doing with the support he has, it's incredible.
Yeah, I want you to take a look at this round, right? Mazzino goes for the jump peek. Leaf instantly punishes it. Ridiculous. Zeppa's already up in Garage before Leviathan even realized they want to go for it. And Jake decides that he can go for this cheeky punish and get rid of Takolia. They know what Leviathan are going to do before Leviathan even know it. And to be honest, I don't think that's based on VOD review prep for all of the stuff that I was talking about on the desk earlier. It's just that Cloud9 read their opponents like nobody else.
Yeah,
they know the game.
definitely one step ahead every round so far.
And that has been the problem for Leviathan. They need to, well, work themselves out of this rut, but at a 10-2 scoreline.
They need to beat Loud. Give up on this one. Go and beat Loud next week.
Hey, you know what, guys? If it keeps going like this, we'll see you in not too long. So we'll send it back to the casters for now.
Yeah, Golden Boy, you're right. There's a potential for a very quick close to this series. Again, Cloud9 up 10-2 at halftime, and Leviathan with a whole lot of things they have to solve in a very short amount of time, Balla.
Yeah, it's funny that Josh says that about the next game, because at the beginning of Lotus, I was saying the same thing. Just go next. Let's go to Haven. Let's see what we can do on there. Because it definitely felt like Cloud9 was just dominating.
You can only go next so far, though. Maybe they hold here. Zelsis right back to the scene of the crime. Remember, opening pistol. This is where he hit that 1v2. It's got a classic this time.
There's 4 players, actually all 5 players from Leviathan and a Link, and they're set up to play a post plant from this position. It's planted for them here. But can they hold this? Cloud9 are literally ready for it because of the audio cues that they've gotten.
Rooney with a rare miss with the Sheriff. Zelsis is still alive. That paranoia is going to hurt. They're going to swing out from that. They've set up everything to try to pounce and get the kills that we're looking for. Not able to convert any of it, though. Zepp's gonna
Oh my
get
goodness.
the defuse.
Enemy remaining.
He got it halfway. Zelsis is gonna have to clutch us out again. The benefit is there's an opportunity, but there was a very small one.
And they just destroyed them there. And I think they're Cloud9 understanding what was going on. I mean, we've been talking about how
Here.
clear they know what is happening on the other side, what Leviathan is doing before they know what they're doing. And it felt like that again.
Enemy remaining.
But this time they make the wrong decision and give them too much rope inside of A-Link. They wanted to hang them, but instead a fuse was blown and Leviathan just completely demolished them. I love how Taco was able to pounce there as well onto the defuse. Well, Zappa's just going for it.
They had 3 kills in that very quick succession.
But I mean, Leviathan, despite winning the pistol here, it's so funny because you think you've won a great battle. You think you won something that'll change the outcome significantly, but right now they have their second real fight of the second half. Because these pistols are they're just so good. It's never a done deal.
Oh, especially when Rooney has a sheriff.
Jake bought a ghost too, actually. That's actually been more and more common in the meta. Few players are doing that on these ecos. I think it's very good when it's actually light armor. It just takes one dink and a shot.
Cloud9 are playing this so respectfully. They're not taking any space. They're not trying to do anything cheesy. Got a decent setup with the nanos on B. And
my
Leaf there
goodness.
waiting to clear.
30 seconds left.
But the hits, hey.
I thought for a second there Leviathan was going to show something else and go for a dry walk, which would have gotten them the site without giving the cues for Cloud9 to rotate early. And now they've given him a chance to flood, but Taco instantly takes him out, and looks like they're handling this quite well.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you. You can see Leaf tried to dash his way out onto the side and catch a timing to perhaps see them unexpected, unaware. Yeah, but they handle it beautifully. Rudy still got his 2 with the sheriff.
Oh my goodness, guy.
Your vital signs are
They look like us, but are they us? I have so many questions.
This guy is something else, man, with that sheriff. It's the movement. In most of these cases that I'm seeing in this game, the movement is so nice. Trading a little bit of damage, but easily getting himself, while the other player is settling in on going for a spray or going for the shot on him. Settles easily on his head. It's distinctive. Very few players are really putting work on their sheriff.
It's very evident that he puts time into his. Leviathan have brought the gap down to 6.
Shot that.
And with the weapons that they have, look to convert for more. Leaf is gonna get spot. Oh no. He's not gonna get spotted. And now he can swing off of that. What a setup!
And the thing there, Leaf, there's a paranoia on that guy, but he's able to recognize instantly that, yeah, he's nearsighted, not actually flashed for me, so he just dashes away. And his real instinct is to fight with the Celsius flash instead.
Jay caught with utility out. Swings out and still lands the shots onto Shy.
How often is this guy actually getting caught out and still winning the fight? There, obviously, Shy goes to break the turret when he sneaks through that. Not the turret, the alarm bot, excuse me. Or maybe whoever it was, I think maybe Zeppa holding.
Something caught his attention.
Yeah, so Jake gets the ability to get back into that. He was looking to smoke A, I believe, in that instance.
30 seconds left.
20 seconds. I think everybody knows what's about to happen. Don't have to speak it. Cloud9's hunting for it. The 20-second crunch.
King's gonna be the first to feel some of that pressure.
10
Catching
seconds
Jake
left.
as he tries jumping into the window.
Cloud9 doesn't have money here.
Oh, and they've just lost 2 guns.
Yeah, you see them backing up. They're like, let's chill, let's chill. Because they could have gotten in a situation there where they lost. I mean, they won the round, but they lost everybody. and being forced to save. Honestly, it might still be really scrappy of a buy for them, because I don't think any of those players could drop. So yeah, we've got a Stinger and a Bulldog out from the 2 players who died.
Yeah, a little spotty for sure.
I say that, but we act like Zeppa's Stinger isn't the best in the world.
Meanwhile, Leviathan with full rifles, full armor on Mazzino, but light armor the rest of the way. And it looks like they're going to push down too long. Cloud9 are. You've got to set up for a fault line, a flash, a dash. Off the contact, there it is. He's nearsighted, he's stunned, and he does not get away.
It's too perfect. Here's Zeppa. Responded by Taco, and he goes into spawn. Cloud9's still pushing long.
This is really
Out of
nice from
charge,
them,
caution
but the
here.
spike is backside. And they may not be able to get out with this. Nazra falls, shy with the trade.
Can he run towards A? He doesn't have the read to go towards A because they haven't cleared the site right now.
Spike down,
They're
mid.
2 players are walking in spawn. I was thinking to myself, Leviathan doesn't get into scrappy situations very often,
My
but
ult is ready.
it looks like they're making some interesting decisions. Shy just doesn't have the info to go in
One enemy
to
remaining.
A-Long. Finally, King as well comes through spawn. That's not what you expect. And Leaf, 1v1.
Taking a little bit of damage.
Dude, they are literally playing a 1v1 that you set up in custom games where all 3 sites are enabled right now because you have no clue where either side is coming from.
You see
Except
King?
Leaf knows he has to go local to the spike.
And there's still so much ground you have to cover. But there it is. He sees it. The spike,
30 seconds left.
well within reach. Time is plentiful, but he's not looking the right way now.
Got the
He
spike.
is. He grabs the spike. He
Gun
spots
saw.
the gun barrel.
Oh.
The spam, but Leaf still swings out and gets the kill. I mean, call him King Midas. Everything he touches turns to gold.
It's ridiculous.
Let's end this.
He's in his element. That's such a tough shot for King to go for, actually, after he falls off that step. I think he wants to approach and use the ability of the unknown. Instead, he actually tries to go for the spam. And you don't expect Leaf to peek there, but Leaf puts himself into the only position on the map there that watches everything.
Just so far
Get out
ahead.
of my way.
Literally everything. Cloud9 series point.
Am the hunter.
This is...
This could be the finisher. Yeah. It certainly looks like that'll be the case.
Spike.
He just used a dart at the beginning of the round and insta ults. The dart gets broken and he still finds damage. I mean, what a read there. That was just completely knowing exactly what they're going to call. And the tendencies that Leviathan has shown so far, and maybe what they haven't shown, the fast C-hit has not been called. I'm actually surprised that we get to this position without a timeout out of owner's side, because
Me too.
Deploying drone.
now they're down 2 and Cloud9 just simply,
Scanning
in
ahead.
these positions, they're able to easily overcome even smoking the dart.
Smoking the dart so that Zelsis can stay where he was.
And they didn't have information exactly about Zelsis there.
It's just so clean.
Jake info
30
ults
seconds
too.
left.
Doesn't get too much, but I think Zeppa now especially. Leviathan never go into sites without giving info up first. It just never happens. It happened maybe 1 or 2 times against
Spike
Crew, and that's why I
planted.
was kind of excited to see some evolution. But it's just not happening here against Cloud9, and they needed a lot of it.
It's well done by Nazar.
Revealing
They're
area.
back in it. 2 players down in dark.
Certainly gotten a step closer, Zeppa. Considering dropping. He does. That's just so bold. A 2v2.
Standing.
Drops down to a 1v1. Rooney there. So freaking good. Rooney with 3. The series for Cloud9.
And that's a second seed, top 2, 100% clinched up for Cloud9. We already knew they were going to playoffs. We already knew they had a good chance in Tokyo, but right now they just locked it up in playoffs to have 1 match be the difference to carry them to Tokyo. And honestly, they've earned themselves a week of rest too. Final game will be against Crew.
What a wild ride it's been for Cloud9. And they're showing no signs of slowing down. No signs of stopping.
This team is insane. Josh said they might be. He made the very, very bold claim that they might be the second best team in the world behind Fnatic. And I think showings like this, where they're so decisive against some of the other top competition we have in America's League, is why there's credence to that statement. And how they've been able to do that, given the situation that they were at the beginning of the year, like King was talking about in one of the clips we showed earlier, is beyond me. A collegiate player, an IGL, who hadn't been played in VCT until he stepped on the stage at the beginning of the split, right there on your screen, and he closed this match out. Just crazy what this team is able to accomplish.
You know, I jokingly asked Leaf last week, do you get tired of winning? Do you guys get tired of winning the way that you're winning, the style in which you're winning? And he goes, not one bit. Not one bit. And once again, they replicate their performance that they've shown week over week. And it seems like they're getting better. They're doing the little things correctly. They have star performances out of Leaf. Rooney Sheriff is world renowned at this point. I mean, what can slow these guys down?
And they turned the hearts and minds of many, I believe. But the performance of this team, the performance of the players, the way the coaching staff has worked it, it's unbelievable. This team, not only with this win, locked up that top 2 seed, but also they end up with the best map differential in the league. Next week's match will not matter. And that means a lot, given how Loud has looked weak. They just lost their first series yesterday against NRG. And honestly, when you look at Cloud9 and the way they played, they have not dropped a map. They've only dropped 1 map in the last 6 series. 1 map.
I think the more you dig into it, the more it just looks worse, right? It just highlights more and more of how dominant of a performance it's been. They went from, are you guys going to win a series, right, at the very beginning?
I can't believe we thought that at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
They've wooed everyone. They've become the darlings of Americas, and they take down another victim along the way. We're going to step away. We'll have the Verizon post-match interview and Death's breakdown right after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm standing here with Cupid from Cloud9, a sixth player here. Yes, bring it up here for the Verizon post-match interview, and congratulations on the win. I know you're standing in the sidelines when you're watching these games, but these must be like some very interesting and stressful games when you're sitting there and watching them play.
I think it's harder to watch than to play, honestly, at times. Like, you just don't have a lot of control, and it's just the one timeout that you have, or like 2 timeouts that you have, so it's more nervous watching them playing, actually.
Yeah. Well, I want to actually talk about the elephant in the room. What is with these bandanas? So I think like last week you came out with like a Shrek bandana. Now you had Zeppa coming out with like a Toy Story one. What's the story behind this one here, and why the bandanas?
I just like the bandanas on myself, and then Zeppa took one from me, started streaming with it. He likes it, so he took that one. I'm gonna order a bunch more, and I'm gonna try to have everybody wear one for the walkout, but I don't know if they'll want to, but I'm trying my best.
That's awesome. And let's talk a little bit about your career too, because you've been a player that's been grinding in the tier 2 scene out in Europe, and MC is always known to be like a great scouter for like bringing up young talent and also building teams. So how did you connect with MC, and how did your journey coming into NA start?
I was doing tryouts for like a bunch of tier 2 European teams, and the guard was playing, he was with the guard at the time, and he was in Iceland, and we were scrimming them, and we played 2 scrims. It was like 16-8 and like 20-4 or something like that. Like, we beat them really hard. Yeah. And after that, we just started talking, and I guess he liked my opinions about the game and the way I want to play the game. And then, you know, the tier 2 scene, you know, sometimes is not the best, so I decided like to take a year as a 6th man to learn as much as I can, because I want to, you know, become an IGL. And I'm still really young, so I'm just like taking this as an experience to just learn from him. And I think this is a team that I can learn from a lot, having people like Zelsis on the team. Like, there's just a lot to learn from this team. So that's kind of like my decision and how I came here.
Awesome. And also what I like too is, no matter what, you've secured at least a playoff spot a couple of weeks ago now, and now you secured the top 2, but you still wanted to bring some new things, some new flares to the team, including composition changes into the second map. So now I'm seeing Zeppa playing into a Killjoy. What's going on here with C9's flexibility in the roles? Because I remember there was like some video of like MCE talking about like role issues. It doesn't seem like you have role issues right now.
I mean, basically, like, we try not to get complacent. So, like, even though we're winning a lot of matches, I don't like the theory of, like, don't change anything. So we're always trying to improve, because you can always improve. Even this game wasn't perfect. So we're just trying to improve, try new things at all times. And we're confident that, like, whatever we try, we have a week to prepare. So we have a whole week to try whatever we want. And I think it kind of worked out.
Yeah, and now you have a whole week to prepare against Crew, but also an opportunity to just maybe secure only 1 win to qualify for Tokyo. So I want to know, what's the schedule like for you outside of the server now that you're going to go home? I don't think there's going to be any time to relax. So what's it like here bringing up these strats with MCE?
We just work all day, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of work. I mean, we just come up with new ideas. We come in the morning, we talk about, okay guys, what do we want to try today? I'll come with some ideas, MC will come with ideas, players surprisingly will come with a lot of ideas as well. LEV comes up with a lot of good stuff. So we'll just come up with ideas, agree on something, and we just like believe in it, and it usually ends up working because of that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cooper. We're gonna do one small fist bump. Oh no, I was gonna do the snail, man. MC and I go like, I mean, I'm a boomer, so I like the snail jokes, but now we just kind of like we fusion. Thank you so much, Cooper. Congratulations once again for Cooper here with Cloud9, and let's send it back to the desk with Golden Boy.
I tell you one thing, they don't make them like Vansili anymore, man. They really don't. Oh, Tacta Bear is all feeling nice and good, perhaps ready for some cake. Oh, speaking of, we actually have LEV here joining us, and the cake has returned again. LEV, though, first and foremost, congratulations on the win. How did it feel to go out there and get the win the way that you did it against Leviathan, who many consider to be, you know, a top team, but you guys made it look simple?
I mean, obviously the scoreline looked pretty dominant, but I think that there were a lot of mistakes that we made in those rounds, and we kind of got, not bailed out, but like, it could have been cleaner, for sure, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it feels fine, feels good. We needed to win one of our next 2 to get top 2 seed guaranteed.
Yeah.
And obviously, arguably, they're the tougher of the 2 between Crew and Leviathan, the last 2 that we have. So, I mean, a win's a win.
Yeah.
It feels like in these last few weeks, your read on the game has just been insane. As a team, sure, but on an individual level too. I know you did an interview where you were talking about the Neon and just how you were reading the map on Lotus, but today on the Jet too, everybody on Cloud9, yourself included, seems to be a step ahead of your opponents. What do you put that down to? And how does that compare to times in the past where maybe you haven't felt like that?
I think that I wasn't as comfortable in the chamber meta just because the way the game was played was just honestly horrible. Like, it didn't really feel like a tactical FPS. It just felt like you throw something and like you hope that like something is there or it's not there.
Right.
So it's a lot easier now because people don't, they still gamble stack, but it's a lot easier to identify and stuff like that. And just the pacing and the momentum of the game, I feel like kind of caters more towards us than it does other teams. Obviously, we haven't played other regions with this 5, but I just think overall it helps us.
Yeah. Now, in thinking about the future and also what has happened as far as the development of this team goes, like walk me through like the team atmosphere a little bit, because you guys, I passed by you guys, you know, when you're out in the arena and stuff, you guys always seem to be hanging out together, chilling, vibing. Is that the atmosphere in general across the board? Do you feel like it's become this fun, familial atmosphere, or do you feel like everyone's there with a common purpose? What is it like?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's pretty good friends. I mean, we practice, you know, for however many days in a row, and like we live together and stuff like that. So it's definitely like we have to be friends. If we hate each other, then it's just like, you know. But we're not like forcing it, obviously. Like, well, naturally, we're all like, I think Jordan Zelsis is like one of the most like likable people, in my opinion. Like, I think that like anybody can get along with him in a team environment because he's dedicated. Like, he does whatever he wants, and then like everybody else, like just normal people. Like, we don't got a bunch of weirdos on our team. So, it's pretty easy to just talk.
Yeah.
It seems like there's been a very decisive idea on the team to keep Jake and Rooney as comfortable as possible on their roles while everyone else flexes around to do all sorts of stuff. Is that a kind of mentality that you've brought into other areas where you three with the more experience are trying to help them out in other places and just allow them to focus on their roles? Can you speak a bit to how you've helped them acclimatize to the tier 1 level?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, we try to make them comfortable, but it's also just like giving ideas. Like, there's a lot of things that work in lower tiers that don't really, they work, but it's a lot easier to recognize and abuse in tier 1 and stuff like that. And I think that getting them like more stuff to do on their agents, like even if you've played Omen like every single time, you can still find cool one-way or like a cool Omen TP play and stuff like that. So there's definitely stuff like that. And I have a lot of experience personally, and Zelsis does, and Zeppa, on every single agent, really. Like, I started off the game playing Sentinel, I played Smokes, and then I played Duelist, and then I played Sentinel, and then I played, you know. So I've played every agent, basically, and I watch a lot. I don't really play a lot, I watch, but, so I know, like, general stuff about most agents.
Right.
I don't have a question for you, but I just want to say I'm so proud of you. You've come so far, and you know, thinking back to like our CS days, and you're only 19. You have such a like bright and long, like amazing career ahead of you, and yeah, I'm just so happy to see you do so well on stage.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I speak for all of us here. I mean, it's the first time I think that we've had an opportunity, you know, to like chat. Well-spoken, mature, you got a good head on your shoulders, brother. You're going to go very far. Just keep on the path the way that you guys are doing right now, and I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to be singing your praises for many, many years to come. But that said, though, Leaf, there's a cake here. There's a cake here.
Cut the cake.
Josh wanted to cut the cake.
I didn't want the cake.
You know
Golden
what?
Boy gave me the cake.
Because he said I was a child and I couldn't bake a cake, and I baked the cake. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and cut this cake with Leaf? Huh?
I feel
How about
like
that?
Leaf should be cutting the cake here. Do you want to cut it together?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. There
That's
you
really
go.
lovely. Oh,
Gorgeous.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Can we cut a slice and feed it to Golden Boy, in fact?
Yeah, actually, you could go ahead and do that. I mean, what's the
serve it
worst
up.
that
Serve
could
it up to
happen?
him.
I don't really understand
I'm
how
sure
we're gonna-
Joey would be perfectly fine with the lavalier getting.
It's Cloud9 blue on the
How about
inside.
Joey?
That looks delicious.
Okay, here. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. It's a bright blue cake. It's actually do want to give a special shout out to our producer, Alex, and her friend who actually made this cake. I did
What kind of
not
cake
make
is it,
it.
you know?
I don't know. I'm going to taste it right now. Oh, man, that's good. That's good. Well, folks, I think I'm just going to call this show right here. Hopefully I didn't spill anything. But that's basically going to do it for us with Week 7 coming to an end. Let's go ahead and check out the standings while I go ahead and chew this cake. Josh, talk.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the standings, you do have Leviathan losing, right? So you've got that weird four-way tie in the middle. We went through the tiebreaker rules earlier, but there's still matches to be played. And Leviathan, they're going up against Loud. That is going to be a difficult one.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I don't think anyone would have expected Leviathan and Sentinels to both be outside of the playoff picture when the year began. But that's where we are.
How crazy is it, though? It is. This week was all NA on top. Leaf, that has to make you feel pretty good, especially considering the narrative in the beginning of the season where everyone's like, I don't think an NA team's going to qualify for playoffs. And here you guys are dominating the scene.
I mean,
You're good.
we're good.
We're good. I love it. I like this guy. He's a good dude. All right, folks, the playoffs on the horizon. Week 8 is going to be kicking off a little bit earlier than usual. We're actually going to be back Thursday with 2 more matches. We have Sentinels taking on Furia, as well as NRG versus Evil Geniuses. That Sentinels Furia game is going to be very interesting to watch because if I'm correct, both teams need that win in order to make or in order to contend. Isn't that right, Sideshow?
Yes, yeah. All of these games are now insanely important, unbelievably important, because that playoff picture is just ties upon ties, and you don't want some random tiebreaker to decide whether or not you make it to playoffs. That would just be heartbreaking.
Or you could just be like Cloud9, in control of your own destiny.
Yeah, wind the clock back 3 weeks and then start winning your games back then, and then you can be like Cloud9.
Oh, man. Benita, thank you so much for joining us. You have fun?
Thank you so much. I had the most fun.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. It's a pleasure to have you, and we hope that you join us again. And, of course, Leaf, man, anything you want to say to the people back at home, people watching? Floor's yours, buddy.
I don't know if anybody's going to be watching from home because they don't really understand Valorant, which I don't blame them because I barely even understand it. But, I mean, just thanks to everybody that watches us and supports us and stuff like that. And, I mean, now it's just Tokyo.
Yeah, I love that. All right, well, Sideshow, always a pleasure, my friend. I'm actually going to be stepping away. I will not be here next week. Dash is going to be here, and he'll be handling business as he always does. But for now, that's going to do it for us here. I'm going to cut some cake, and you're going to watch the Prime Gaming Post-Day highlights. We'll see you next week, folks. Have a good one. Bye. Let's get this cake. Here we go.
I'm getting more cake.
Yeah. Benito, you want a slice? No! It's
good.
meal.
Thank you.
For Cloud9, it's about getting that win and getting one step closer to Tokyo. And for Leviathan, it's just about securing the dub here today and hoping that the shenanigans doesn't happen in the rest of the league.
King is finding more value. 1v1. Rooney pulls off, and Rooney gets the 1v1. He's just off of it. Mazzino down low. He gets 3, and Leviathan are going to get another round.
And the cycles for them to have all that up.
Rooney, how? How on earth did Rooney get that kill? A brutal spot to be in, a tough decision to make, and one that goes the way of Cloud9. They're fast with it, they're pacey, but Leviathan have a couple of strong members here that have been able to keep them back a bit. Got the fault line, he's gonna take the fight, and they're both weak! They were both weak, and it's a clutch for Zelsis!
Looking like it might be a really good attempt from Leviathan to save, or actually get killed by the spike, but instead they're all gonna fall. And now Seppa is getting up to his ult.
Straight back and forth, it's gotten into a 1v1. Leaf has struggled! Oh, but it's Seppa who plucks Taco out of the sky! So bold, a 2v2. Drops down to a 1v1. Rooney, there. So freaking good! Rooney with 3, the series for Cloud9.